It had been raining a little bit, and I was going like about 30 miles an hour, and all of a sudden there was a flash, and that's all I remember till I woke up in the hospital. Okay, here we go.
Hey ma'am, can you tell me your name? You don't want a PRBC? You don't want a 15?
I got up, got ready, normal day. My phone starts going off. I look at my watch and it says Life 360. I'm like, why is Life 360 calling me? So I look and I tapped it and then immediately grabbed my phone and I'm starting to look where it shows her off in the field, off of that embankment on 41 Highway, Dead Man's Curve. And I'm immediately kind of like getting upset and freaking out. So I went outside and started calling her. She wasn't answering. If she was any amount of okay, she would have answered. You know, it comes on her car. It was the longest amount of time I've ever sat through anything. And I just sat in my car saying, God, please just wake her up, Mom, wake up, you know, because I knew she wasn't coherent at that point.
My sister called. My sister never calls me that early in the morning. My sister was hysterical, so I'm like, oh my God, what happened? What's wrong? She's explaining to me that Mom had a wreck. She told me she had a head-on collision. She doesn't know what's going on. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to Erlanger. If they're taking her somewhere else, let me know, because mechanism of injury, head-on collision, trauma, she's going to go to the trauma center, obviously. So I take off from work immediately and just start heading toward Erlanger.
She came in, she was talking, but she was sitting directly up, which kind of caught my attention because most of the time people come in and they're on a stretcher and they're laying flat back. But she was complaining that she couldn't breathe. For us to be able to figure out what was going on, we took her over to the CT scanner. And then when we came back to the trauma bay, I positioned myself so I could be looking in the trauma bay, but also looking at her CT scan. At that time, it showed that she had active extravasation, meaning she had, to me, it looked like a hole in her heart. I was pretty starstruck. And it flips the switch of being like, one, how is she still in there talking? But then two, is that she has a chance. And so it rapidly became something that, you know, tons of teams got together to be able to get that room open really fast, to get her upstairs really fast.
It was like 1:30 and we're still trying to find her car, trying to find her purse. Well, it's still on the scene. At that point, I'm like, it's still on the scene. They think she's gonna die.
Mom was in surgery for 6 or 7 hours. That's a long time to wait and not know anything. Called us to a conference room, and that's when we met Dr. Favors for the first time. She explained the situation. She went to all of Mom's injuries. She let us know that, hey, let's just concentrate on the fact that she's still here right now, and explained that if anybody had done anything different, from the ambulance crew to the people who received her in the hospital to the getting her to the OR, if anybody had done anything differently, she probably wouldn't still be here. The word miracle was thrown around quite a lot, that she even made it to the hospital and then made it through her surgeries and all of her injuries just to get to the trauma ICU.
I didn't want to give them false hope. I wanted them to know that I was terrified. I really was, because I knew she had a huge uphill battle, but I thought that she had a chance. And that's how I left the conversation with them. And then every day, that's what we always finished out with was, you know, these are some things that are going well. These are some things that maybe I wish were a little bit better, but she's still here and we still have a chance.
I was in trauma for like, I think 19 days. I was sore, of course, and hurting at times and discomfort, but I knew in my mind I was going to beat this. You know, I'm determined that I'm going to do all I can to get back to where I was. If they had laid me down, I would have probably died. I would have drowned it in my own blood. And I'm glad that they listened to what I had to say to where they can treat me. I'm glad they didn't go the other way and just do what they normally did. But I don't remember telling them any of it. But maybe it was just God's will to keep me to where I could tell them, you know, this isn't working, I can't breathe, don't lay me down. And that maybe that was God's way of keeping me here too.
It was just amazing as far as the care that those people and the passion that they have for what they do.
She's not 100% as she was, but I think we're 90 to 95% there because of the care she received from the trauma team. She can have a normal life again, and that's not always the case in these situations.
Well, Dr. Favors was wonderful. She was very kind. She was very mindful of my case. So was Dr. Bell. And I just can't really tell them how much it means to me that they are the doctors they are and what they have done for me. Because it's just almost don't have words, but just thank you. And I really appreciate each and every one of them.
Well, I'm obviously going into trauma, so I love trauma. You initially sometimes start with trauma and it's an adrenaline rush, right? And you have people that come in and they're really sick and you just try your best. And you just say, well, they came to me in their worst and I can only try the very best that I can. And I think after her story and this experience, it changed a lot for me emotionally. Of that it wasn't so much the adrenaline rush, is that I really got to connect with families. And I now got to give someone, maybe I was able to give them back their family member, but I was able to give them back hope. You have these people that are having, like I said, the worst day of their entire life. And I'm put in a position where I'm so humbled to be able to at least give them a hope that they would do okay. And so I'm very, very thankful. And I honestly wasn't sure I was going to go into trauma until this case. I actually had different options. And then it was in January where I sat Dr. Bell down and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do with my life. And it was after this case.